Trail Blazers legendary broadcaster Bill Schonely was laid to rest this weekend. One of Portland's all-time greats who coined the phrase Rip City. He was 93 years old. The Blazers will host a public celebration of life on March 13th at Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Joining us now on Sports Sunday, sports writer, author, and biographer, the Dean of Portland Sports, Kerry Eggers, who recently penned the Bill Schonely story, Wherever You May Be Now. Kerry, my condolences. I know you and the late Bill Schonely were good friends. How are you and the Schonely family doing?
I'm doing fine. I think this family's doing well, and thank you for having me on, Orlando. He's, it was a legendary run for Schonely, and 93 years old. That's a pretty good run. I'm happy to say that we had him as long as we did.
How did you and Bill meet?
Well, when I was a young sports writer, I did it's called Off and On. It was a broadcast column. I'd be making, putting my opinions out there for people like you, Orlando, and I kidded Schonely about some of the redundancies that he said, like, but however, and so on, and I don't think he paid much attention to it. But gradually I moved up and with the Oregonian, and I covered the Blazers for 3 years, and that's where I really got to know him. And when in 1998, after he was unceremoniously dumped from his play-by-play duties, we talked and we decided to write a book. So the initial book that we wrote was in 1998, Wherever You May Be, and this latest book, which came out in November, is Wherever You May Be Now, catching people up on those 25 years.
So Kerry, why was writing this book important to you?
Yeah, the second part of it was important because, the first time he was still under contract with the Blazers, and there was a lot of shenanigans going on behind the scenes that we couldn't write about. This time, and I'm not saying there's shenanigans, but there's certainly things that we weren't able to say then that we're able to say now.
Did you learn anything new about Bill that you didn't already know?
Well, I certainly did in the first book. He was a ring announcer for Portland Wrestling and actually got into the ring as a grappler in Seattle and in Baton Rouge. He also got behind the nets as a goalie at a practice for the Seattle Totems, tore up his shoulder. He was in a sling for 6 weeks. I guess the thing that struck me the most about Bill, in the second part is, he had some great reflections on the organization, the people that he dealt with. Some of them were positive, some of them were negative, and I thought he was pretty honest. There's going to be a lot of stories that people have never heard. I think they'll get a pretty good chuckle out of it. I hope that they'll read about the things that Bill did in the latter part of his life. I mean, he was such a great person for charities and emceeing events. He couldn't say no to people, and that was one of the wonderful things about Bill.
What were those last experiences like for you on a personal level, Kerry?
I actually visited him on the day that he died. He died that night, and he said, bring a few books by, I'll sign some books. So I said, well, how many? He says, not many. So he sat there and we talked. He had told me that he felt that he was ready to meet his maker, and it happened. And again, I'm glad that we had him for so darn long. It was our good fortune.
Where can people pick up the book?
The only place they can buy it on my website, kerryeggers.com. Go to the home page. There's a store at the top of the page.
Kerry, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. He is the Dean of Portland Sports, Kerry Eggers. Make sure to pick up the book, The Bill Schonely Story, Wherever You May Be Now.